Tune in every week for a new episode of Dire Past Level with Ray and TDK.
There it is.
Pretty good.
Hey, welcome once again. We are live, as always, inside the beautiful DoPL arcade. You guys know him, you love him. He single-handedly discovers lost civilizations, and he grew up in the woods. Everybody, say hello to our friend,
Trevor! Wow.
Trevor.
Trevor. That's cool. We are nerds. That was very sweet, right?
I'd like to introduce our guest for today. He's a good friend of mine. He's been jet setting since, he was born. We met through our partners and our kids at A Mommy and Me. If that rings a bell to our listeners, that's also how I met our boy Brandon. I get to benefit from the jet setting because I am visiting you in your neck of the woods in a couple of weeks. Everybody say hello to Seb. How you doing, Seb?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm really excited to be here.
Sebastian Lopez Hinton, for those of you who want to Google search, and IMDb.
Wait, right off the bat, I gotta ask you right off the bat, what is the reason for the jet setting? Why are you such like a man of mystery and going all over the world?
It was thrust upon me.
It's in your lineage? Like your mom,
it's in my lineage. They're adventurers that have now been missing for about 10 years in search of a lost city of gold.
I'll find them, don't worry.
Single-handedly, I hope. My father was a diplomat, so we hopped around every 3 years of my life. Definitely a unique upbringing.
I met you and I knew you as a voiceover actor. I'm curious if there's anything you'd like to share about what you're working on or something you'd like to share about what you do and what you've done in the past.
For me, the voice acting came after acting. Like I started on camera first, and then my agents approached me and were like, hey, you speak Spanish and you speak English perfectly. Is this something you'd like to get into? And I said, yeah, sure, let's try it. And there we go. I've been talking to myself forever, trying to mimic other sounds. I was born in El Salvador. They didn't have a national TV network or anything, right? There was no industry, certainly. On the TV, at 7 p.m. every night, national anthem, and they would just kill it. During the prime time hours, they had dubbed shows like, Different Strokes and all of these early 80s, late 70s type shows. I was a little kid watching TV, and I would observe the people's mouths. There was something about the way the mouths moved and what sound came out that fascinated me. What is this skill? I was trying to learn how to speak like this as a little kid. And then they explained to me, no, what it is that this is recorded in a different language, and so that we can understand they do this. But it triggered something in me. Moved to different places around the world, and I was always listening to the sounds, and I became really interested in sort of generally observing why humans do what they do, why humans behave in certain ways.
You talk about that kind of like audio landscape that you were fascinated by as a kid, right? You're an actor first, so you're on camera, and then you go behind the microphone. How do you kind of translate that thing that fascinated you as a kid into diversifying that for a narrative structure? You're telling a story, but with just sounds. Maybe you're not as in control of the visual cues as you would be in a live action. Break that down for us. Cartoons versus video games. What are the different idiosyncrasies of that?
What's interesting to note is that now, of course, voiceovers is a big thing and everybody respects it. Let's not forget that this used to be looked down upon much in the same way that, in the 80s, a movie actor was on a different level than a television actor in terms of perception. Right. In the past 10 years, you hear people talking about how, like, TV's got the better material. There's the misconception that in order to do voiceover, all you have to do is talk into a mic. Well, hell, everybody can talk, right? So you just keep talking when you're talking to a mic. And what they didn't realize was that, in fact, for voice acting, you have to work so much harder because you don't have any of the visual cues. Your posture informs somebody about something. It's removing one of your senses, right? So the other ones become sharper. Like in my case, I've spent, like I said, since I was a kid, making different sounds and trying to get my voice down here and see what happens when I go here. And then, if I need
a little guy, hey guys, maybe not.
I was always having conversations with myself. I don't know why. I like to entertain myself. I remember getting cast on Grand Theft Auto 5. I was kind of like, what am I doing? Because of the secrecy, the confidentiality surrounding this kind of stuff. And that was really one of the first games where really they were like, all of a sudden, hey, we're making $1 billion. I did not know what I was going to read, what characters I was going to do. I didn't know anything until I showed up for the session.
Did you know it was Grand Theft Auto 5?
No, I mean, they did a really good job. I sat in the lobby. I remember then they called me in. I go into the booth. I still don't know what I'm doing. Putting my headphones on, checking the mic position and everything. Guy walks in with this massive binder, guys. I mean, it was impressive. Opens it up, flips it.
In a briefcase, handcuffed to his arm.
Totally.
When he opens it up, it's like light shines out, Pulp Fiction style.
Yeah, exactly. So the guy opens it up and he puts this thing in front of me, and I'm sitting here looking. I'm like, but what am I doing? And it was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 different characters, right? And the guy was like, okay, so let's do it. It was the kind of thing where I was like, what are we doing? One of the guys came in, he's like, do whatever you want. Look at these characters and think about what those voices sound like. And they just had little descriptions. And I was like, okay. After doing the first one, this weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Like, oh, we're just playing. For me, it's really important that I have fun. And I know that life isn't always fun. And when you have to be serious, especially as a parent and all that. If I know we're just having fun, oh my God, it's amazing. Ray and I have worked together.
We've got something out together officially. Seb is the blacksmith in the Blood Sword animation.
And I'm the voice of the possum.
I actually forgot because neither sound like you. Very impressive.
Mission accomplished.
It's an animation, but it's kind of based in the world of video games too. There's like a hint of pixelation, borrows a lot from Zelda RPGs and getting items, leveling up.
Do you guys have a video component to your podcast? Or
Absolutely. We are in the top 15% of video podcasts on Spotify, Seb. Haven't you heard?
Amazing.
You can listen on Spotify, but if you click it, you can also watch on Spotify. And then we're on YouTube as well. Tons of reels on Instagram, of course, but that's more short form.
Anywhere you check out podcasts, I know it's cliche, but yeah, Apple, Google, all the smaller platforms as well. Yeah, I work pretty painstakingly to edit all this stuff. I add footage to the video. I take a lot of pride in that I'm like putting in the actual man hours to make it happen. Sans AI. Which brings me to my next question. Seb, what are your thoughts on this world of AI coming for our jobs? Actually, I just heard recently that Sony just got a patent to get their intellectual property characters to start hosting podcasts. So we'll have a Crash Bandicoot podcast. How do you feel about that?
I think as a technology, I think it's here. I think it's unfortunate that we've experienced such a detrimental couple of years now. Look at the strikes and all that. Even though righteously I oppose it in any sort of substitution for an actual creative, whether it's an actor, whether it's an artist or whatever it is. I really enjoy this industry being a human industry. AI is never going to write an amazing script because it tends toward the mean of something. It cannot mimic human excellence. I've rejected work because it's kind of like, hey, listen, so we're going to have you come in the first day. We're going to do a 360 scan of you. What they want to do is they want to take your scan and then just cut you out of the equation. They record you saying a bunch of stuff. They're able to synthesize it and then make it sound as if you were speaking. And that I can't get behind.
Sure, they can scan you. Sure, they can get your voice. But the best stuff is your personality, the essence of you. The quips, the mannerisms, the little pauses, the things you're going to say but you don't say. To be cliche myself, I love Nathan Drake and Nolan North, and that performance is so not about what he says, but about what he's about to say. Oh no, I'm going to fall off this cliff or whatever, right? Ray and I were talking about this off mic earlier, and the thing that I think you're so safe in is that you're a dynamic human being, and they're never going to be able to recreate that. As long as you are someone who can engage with other humans, someone who can be engaging to a broad audience, I think you're safe, right?
You're safe, your value won't diminish, but your sell-through ability might be affected.
Kind of like, okay, well, Seb isn't going to do the 360 scan. We'll get this guy to do it instead. Is that what you're kind of hinting at? Or?
And so you move on. So you end up losing work, or you end up developing a certain reputation. If you try to challenge the conventional happenings with, wait, but it should actually be like this is law, you get penalized.
It rings a bit of a bell. Me and TDK talk a lot off mic. We had a whole conversation about how we've both kind of lost out on maybe some big opportunities because our values didn't align with what was happening exactly. It's kind of one of those things where you make a choice and you might get blackballed for it in some ways anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. Oftentimes, You get blackballed for something that was not blackball worthy.
But that's not unique to AI, right? That's humans as well. Being a grown up, and I don't mean that in a diminutive way, but being a grown up, being an adult is really like, can I take that black ball and can I like kick it down the road and turn it into something beautiful?
Can I kick that piece of coal and turn it into a diamond eventually?
Yeah.
Turn it into the sweet, sweet DoPL podcast.
Lemonade, baby, lemonade. Ray, your podcast footprint's been growing, no? I mean, aren't you operating out of a dedicated studio there now?
We dubbed it the D-pad after months and months of deliberation. TDK on a whim came up with the best name. I need a few things. I want to decorate a little more. When it's good and ready, I want to do a live episode. You're obviously more than welcome to join us.
Amazing. I'd love to. You have that Lego Super Mario Brothers TV. Just thinking of you decorating this place made me think of that, and it made me remember the very first time I ever played Super Mario Brothers. Do you guys remember when you first experienced Super Mario Brothers? That game changed everything.
Before we go into the time machine and talk about this, I want to pair this up with the fact that you're so well traveled from such an early age. So when you talk about playing Mario, do your best to recollect where you were, who was around you. I want the full picture. I want to be able to smell it, Seb.
Oh man, I didn't experience it on a console. I had just returned from Pakistan, and we were living in Washington, D.C. while my dad was getting his next post. While in DC, I was put in a school. The school was about 5 to 10 minute walk. On the way back from school, so I would pass a bit of a commercial area where they had restaurants and a bar. I'm walking back home, and there's this guy, must have been like 17, 18, you know, like a big kid. I'm like 10. And this guy's like, hey kid, come here. As I'm telling you the story and I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking of like one of my kids in this situation. Up to this point, all I had ever experienced in terms of video games was Atari 2600. That was it. He pulls me into the bar, but the bar had like this little, what is it, a vestibule? It's like a little four-room.
Alcove.
In this little front room was the Super Mario Brothers arcade machine.
Nice. Just really excited, really wanted you to experience Mario, I guess?
Yeah, it's very bizarre. I go and I'm like, oh yeah, what's up? Right? And I walk in and I look, and I've never seen anything like this. It was next level at that point. I was just like mesmerized by the screen. The guy reaches in somehow, like into the screen, sticks his arm in there, and he starts.
Was it like a T-1000 situation? Like, was it like liquid glass?
No, but the guy sticks his hand in there, and he just starts clicking. You know, like you could see how many credits you had. It just starts going up. The guy had figured out how to reach in and get free games, so he didn't have to put any quarters in. He let me play 2 lives. I remember I died, and he's like, yeah, play again. I play again. Okay. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. He's like, okay, was it fun? I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow then. I leave, I go home.
Back?
Every day after school, I would walk by, and the guy would be there, and I would stop in for like 5-10 minutes and play a little Super Mario.
Okay, I'm just going to throw this out there. I don't think that guy was real. I think this was like your ghost of Christmas past, but maybe only you could see him. It was like this beautiful purgatory that existed just on your walk home from school or something.
You said it was 1989.
No,
it says that.
1988.
It says here the arcade cabinet for Mario wasn't made till 1990.
Yeah. I saw War Games, Matthew Broderick. There's a reason that kids get really good at video games.
What about The Last Starfighter? That's probably
100%.
my favorite.
It's
like,
more accurate.
and they haven't remade it. We live in a time where they remake everything.
And also the concept has not aged a day. Like,
At all.
A kid gets incredible at video games and is recruited by aliens to fight a starfighting war.
Yeah,
Like, why
by
not?
a galactic federation that this is their recruitment tool.
It's a good film. I just showed it to my
love it.
5-year-old and he was all in. He was on the edge of his seat. He was riveted. He was a little bit scared. It was perfect.
I want to tie this in a little. Seb, the aliens come to visit you. They need you to save their planet. What video game is your Starfighter? What game are you saving the planet with? What are you an expert at?
That's a good question.
Oh, all time or right now?
Hit me with the all time and then hit me with the right now.
The right now probably is Super Mario Kart World.
Welcome, by the way.
That, you know, like when the original came out, I was all about it. Now that, you know, my kids have switched to it, it's like, yeah. They don't get tired of me beating them. It's hilarious.
For you.
I think they're just happy to be playing, you know? They're just like,
Yep.
oh, screens. And then all time, Maybe the first Tony Hawk.
Not Tony Hawk 2.
No, the first one.
A minimalist. I love it.
In that first level in that skate park, I learned how to do that combo where you never stop. And so I think with that I could probably save the world.
You're recently a proud owner of a Nintendo Switch too, right?
Yep. I mean, we live in a really small village of 5,000 people in farmland. My kids walk to school. It's a very natural, outdoorsy kind of life. Yes, everybody's obsessed with video games. And this was the point where I had to convince my wife because, my kids are coming home and asking about all these video games and asking about this stuff and that and the friend. It's not like when I was a kid. When I was a kid, not everybody had it and it was okay. It didn't matter because it was new. Now, you better know what's going on.
So is this a Christmas present?
It was a Christmas present, yeah.
Nice.
And we got a few games for them. One of the games we got was Bonanza, right? Donkey Kong. And the older one grabs the controller and he starts smashing everything and doing stuff. This is a gripe I have about video games today. NES games, right? You'd be on a level and you might have one checkpoint in the level, like a midway point, and you have to get there in order to not have to start at the very beginning, Today, kids are getting drops every 30 seconds. Like in Bonanza, you can set it so that the little musical notes are always going so you can see which way you're supposed to go all the time. Video games today are doing such a disservice to kids. I got a game for myself. There's a show on Netflix called Troll Hunters. Guillermo del Toro did it. And they made a video game. I got to be in the game because Diego Luna does the voice of a guy named Krell. But he was unavailable. He was busy doing something, and I was a voice match for him at Paramount. So they called me in, and I got to do this game with legends of voiceover, like Fred Tatasciore. I mean, just amazing. I never got to play it. I never got to experience the game. So now I took advantage of the fact that now we got the Switch too, and they put it out for the Switch, so I got it. It's side scroll. I love side scrollers.
What's that like to play a game that you were integral in and a big part of? Recording, you don't really see the end result, and then you get to kind of experience the end result as this whole new thing.
I mean, I don't know that I was integral. But it's even more interesting than with movies. Whenever I'm on a project, I'll ask for the full script, the greater context of things, I finished a movie in Switzerland recently. I did my part of it, and now they released the movie, and I looked at it. It's a different movie than I thought it was going to be. With voiceover, it's 10x that concept because it's imaginary worlds. You don't know what your character even looks like. I never saw for GTA 5 what my characters look like. It sneaks up on you because you get into the game. A bummer about doing what I do is that some of the magic of movie making is gone for me. My wife hates watching movies with me because we'll sit there and we'll be watching it and I can tell you where that's not the actor's voice anymore. This is an ADR now and this is switched and this and that, So a little bit of that magic of just sitting there is gone. With video games, the magic is still there. I'm playing the game and then all of a sudden there's a character. It's like, oh, it takes a second to recognize.
So I don't know about voiceover specifically, but I'm a big animation fan and I'm a big video game fan. So do you have people you look to through the history of what we would call voiceover? Obviously current day Nolan North or Troy Baker, right? But if you go way back, I'm thinking Frank Welker, Scooby-Doo, Fred Jones, Casey Kasem, the Hanna-Barbera players. Do you go back to there and you listen to them and see what they do? Or do you ever maybe even just catch it on TV and you're like, wow, that was a golden era?
Oh yeah, I think guys like Mel Blanc were prolific. The ability to just modulate his voice in pitch and in depth, it's impressive. I mean, the voice is just impressive. You hear somebody sing something in the right way and you go, oh my God. And then you have another guy in voiceover, Don LaFontaine, the guy who did basically every single movie trailer in a world. Not only did he do these trailers, he came up with those phrases. If I'm not mistaken, he was an advertising guy. He switched into voiceover and became the most famous voiceover artist of all time. 5,000 plus movie trailers. He's been the voice of damn near everything. The weight he puts on each word as he says it, it's perfect. But then you've got a guy like Rob Paulson. It's like a dial on the back, and you change it and all of a sudden every aspect of the voice is different. Tension, the resonance, or the whatever. It's incredible.
Even if they were the lead, if they were Shaggy, Casey Kasem also maybe voiced one of the bad guys and one of the side characters in that specific episode, right? And I think they reused a lot of these guys. Is that still the practice? Do you find yourself doing multiple voices for multiple characters?
Generally speaking, yeah. When you get hired to do one, you're probably going to end up doing about 3. That ability to be a utility player that way comes in really handy. And I think for the productions, if they had to fill each voice with a new person, the rotating door, it's just the energy expenditure is much higher.
Plus, maybe more fun for the actor, right? To get to stretch a little bit.
For sure. And you know every actor's going in there, at least at first, you want to show them you can do it. You want me to do a what? A grandma? Yeah, I can do a grandma. Oh, you need a 5-year-old kid? Yeah, sure. You know, like in the Troll Hunters game, I did the voice of this guy, and then they were like, normally Fred does these guys, but can we get your take on this? And it was like these alien-type dogs-looking things. They had me, play around with these creature sounds. There's a guy named D. Bradley Baker. The way he can make things resonate is amazing. He'll be a guy that they hire for actual films. They need a creature sound or whatever, and he'll come in and...
I have a 5-year-old little boy right now, and the amount of times we spend just making monster noises and laser beam noises, I found myself being like, God, I gotta work on my laser beam noise. It's not good enough. Something inside that little 5-year-old little boy's genetic makeup, he just knows how to be like, you know what I mean? Like whatever it may be.
Give it a 6.5.
on that pass?
I have a couple of notes. Hope you don't mind.
I think you need to come in a little more nasally.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was good. It sounded like a lightsaber. I could see the glow of the lightsaber as you did it.
But what you're talking about that you do with your son, that's what I was doing since I was little as well. Just sitting there and continuing to make sounds and sound effects. Like I remember growing up oftentimes when I was describing something to friends, and he came in and then it was like whoosh, and I would always be enhancing my stories with sound effects. Now I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, 2 boys. We do this with them all day long. I'll start making voices and now they start making voices.
Great way to flex that muscle for sure.
I think one thing that really helps in this business, aside from the actual skills you need to develop and all that, having the imagination of a child. My wife regularly is like, really? That's my main tool for my profession, is that my ability to access my imagination and not be sort of like watching myself. I just fall right into the thing and I'm gone, which is not great when people are trying to have a very dry and serious conversation and there's no room for sense of humor or anything like that.
That's a great characteristic and trait to have in the creative field. I still struggle with it. The conditions need to be a certain way for me to feel comfortable about really belting out a vocal.
I think for me, the only condition that needs to be met is, are we standing here? I can't help myself. I studied advertising in college because I wasn't allowed to study acting or any of that, because it too is something that explains a little bit why people do the things they do. And that's always been sort of the thing that pulls me toward this. I am probably too inappropriate to survive super long term in a corporate environment. I had a great time when I was working in the corporate world, but it's just not for me. I need to be able to express myself. It's not to say that I take advantage of that and I'm just acting a fool all the time. I mean, Ray, you know me. I'm not trying to go around everywhere I go and let people know what I do and who I am, and
yeah,
I'll do it. I'll do it no matter what.
You just get lost. You get lost in the fun of it.
Yeah.
You don't got to tell a couple of dudes on a video game podcast about how important it is to hold on to that fun and just to maintain that childlike part of you.
That's the best, isn't it? Well, especially in today's world. I mean, look at what we're going through right now. We don't really worry about too much in Switzerland, but the rest of the world isn't so. I try to explain that to my kids because they live in a place where they walk to school. It's super safe. There's no second thought about letting my 5-year-old put a backpack on and head out. And what's more, over there, in order for your kid to graduate from kindergarten to first grade, it's compulsory for them to know how to walk home by themselves and walk to the school from home by themselves. So we live in this little bubble, where everything is awesome, as the song goes,
Yeah.
I wish it were like that for all kids.
I always feel like living in LA, it's incumbent upon us as parents to create that situation for our kids. Like, as much as we can, we walk to the park, we walk to the skate park. I've really tried to keep his world small in a very intentional way. I know that we live in Long Beach in LA County, but he doesn't really know. He knows his little neighborhood and the little characters that exist in this neighborhood, you know, like Sandy next, you know, across the street, and the guy Vic down the street who has like the classic cars, and the ice cream shop is here and school is there, and that is his world. It's small, but it's populated with people that he interacts with on a daily basis. Part of the challenge, but part of the fun of being a parent is keeping their world small and keeping their perspective of the world within their own grasp.
How do you guys deal with this? Sort of like boundaries around video games, keeping your kids active in other things as well.
Our family doesn't do screens on weekdays. They don't even ask. After spring break or after winter break, they'll definitely try it for a day or two, but they kind of know even the feeling of, I wore a backpack today. Don't even bother asking.
No family TV, no anything like that.
When they get home from school, Friday is their first opportunity to like watch something or play a video game. And even then, like, you know, I'm a certified Nintendo boy. The games that they have access to are going to be Animal Crossing, Donkey Kong, Mario Kart, stuff that is relatively harmless. I like my competitive like FPSs, fighting games here and there, but those are things that I personally play after they're asleep. And that's kind of how we run it over here. But you know, everyone's different.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That's how you grew up too. No games during the weekdays, free for all on the weekends.
That Friday feeling, man, nothing beats it. I mean, do I wish I played video games as a child every day of the week? Maybe a little, but we talk about that anticipation all the time, TDK. And that feeling of looking forward to something and knowing that on Friday, Dad was going to take you to Blockbuster because he knew that for $4.99 he could keep me occupied for an entire weekend. Hell yeah, dude.
Best deal.
I really admire that, and I might steal the no screens on the weekday thing. Once you put it into motion, it kind of just takes care of itself. That sounds like really cool. That said, Seb, I'm a single dad, so it's just me and my 5-year-old little guy. I've approached raising him much like we talked about, intentionally raising him in kind of a smaller ecosystem. Of course, you know, like a lot of parents our age, I did no screens for a few years. And then when I introduced it, I did it in a way that it was like very lo-fi first. When it came to cartoons, instead of just showing him whatever crazy Las Vegas algorithm cartoons are on the YouTube Kids right now, I showed him like old school Speed Racer and Johnny Quest from the 50s and 60s, where the animation was really slow and the music was great. And maybe there's more like shoot 'em up than you would want because it was the 60s, but stuff that I could stomach. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that.
He doesn't even know what that is, dude. He has no idea what that is. So I approached it like that. To his brain, Speed Racer is still very exciting, which is essentially like just a static image with another static image moving across each other. Like it's very lo-fi. And then more recently, I've approached video games in that same strategy. I dug out my wife's old Super Nintendo that her and I used to play on, and I hooked it up in the garage. It's not in his room. It's not like in our house, but we go to the garage and we'll play Super Mario Kart. Literally just this week, Super Mario Kart was clunky, and I was like, this isn't working for him. And so I pulled out Street Fighter 2. It turns out he's going to be Ray's protege. He's a savant on Street Fighter 2. Very well versed already. Like intuitive, like you said. Yeah, I think I'm trying to raise him out of time in all aspects of culture. Video games, TV, music. I want him to have an education of just a more lo-fi, disconnected, tactile world. And of course, he'll get into all the other stuff. But I'd like to have the baseline of soft skills before he's just pure coder.
Yeah, I'm with you. We're also no screens on the weekdays. On Fridays, we'll do like a movie night, so I'll make pizza and then we'll watch a movie. They can game on Saturday and Sunday, but it's not a free-for-all. That's something that my wife is still very resistant to. And I get it. The older one, in order to unlock his screen time, he has to have read, it depends on the book he's reading, but it's like between 10 and 20 pages throughout the week. And he has to have played piano for 30 minutes.
That's reasonable. That sounds fair.
It sounds fair when you're an adult,
yeah.
You know, when you're 9 years old, especially when your brother doesn't have to do the same thing.
Torturous.
My older son is more obsessive about things. He's more like, I want to play nonstop.
Sega!
We're like, okay, it's time to turn it off now. Sometimes it's a discussion with the older one. You know, with the little one, it's more like, okay, And then the discussion about why doesn't my brother have to read pages and do this and that. And,
Such is
it
the life
is.
of a sibling. My
But
brother
it's
definitely walked so that I could run.
all firstborns do.
My mom sick to her stomach at 10:30 p.m. because my brother wasn't home versus me like coming home at like 4 in the morning and then being sound asleep for like
They
no
didn't even wait
problem.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think now's probably a good time to close it out. All right, Seb, and no pressure. I'm not going to make you do it. Would you like to give us one of your voiceover promos for the Die or Pass Level podcast in your best commercial voiceover voice? In English or Spanish, your choice.
What's your name in Spanish? Dior Pas Level.
Yeah. Eso.
I can do that because
Sí.
I'm Latino, right? I'm not gonna get canceled on your show, right? I will have died. I will be the die in Dire Pass level. You don't want that. You don't want to tune in every week for a new episode of Dire Pass Level with Ray and TDK.
There it is.
Pretty good.
And seeing beautiful. Dude, thanks so much for coming on. It was a super fun time, man. Thank you for hanging with us, talking about retro video games and educating us a little bit on the world of voiceovers and some of your awesome work. Make sure to check out Troll Hunters on Nintendo Switch. I'll probably check it out when I'm visiting you, actually.
Probably.
I'll be excited to talk to your kids about gaming on the weekends.
They're really excited. They're like, Dad, why don't you play games all the time?
I actually get that a lot from my kids' friends. Wow, your dad's a gamer? My dad doesn't have this kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, I know. Don't test that control, kid.
Being a gamer now is what being a quarterback was like in the 80s or something. You know, oh, your dad's a quarterback?
That's so true, right? Do you stream?
Oh my god, are you on Twitch?
Yeah, a little.
Here and there. Don't worry about it. Thank you so much for having me.
It was really great to talk to you.
Likewise. I look forward to connecting in person.
I'll do the spiel since TDK said I did so magnificently last time. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, leave us comments, talk to us. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We're having a great time as always, and we're happy to talk about what you're playing, what you grew up playing. We just want to talk games. Thanks for hanging with us once again. TDK, any last words before we say goodbye? Hey,
That was a
everybody,
great
it's
time.
Ray here.
Thanks for your
Just
time,
wanted to
guys.
thank
Bust
you
us
for
out in
tuning
the
into the
comments.
Dire
Tell us what
Pass
you
Level
like.
podcast.
All
right, gang.
If
Thanks
you
so
wanna
much for
hang
hanging
out and
out.
join
We
us for
will
the
see
next
you at the
episode,
next
make
one.
sure to like
Hey,
and
thanks,
Peace
subscribe.
guys.
That way you're notified when our next episode releases. If you really, really, really liked it, you'd do us a solid if you left us a review. Reviews are a great way to spread the word about our podcast, and the more gamers to share these stories with, the better. All right, we'll see you next week. Have a good one. There we go.